I am a massive fan of both Test Drive Unlimited and Burnout Paradise, and while both are very good games in their own way, neither of them are particularly realistic, which is a gap that I'm kind of hoping Forza Horizon is going to fill. Now, the first thing I noticed about this game when I was sort of driving through it is that the AI cars in the open world are an awful lot more realistic. They're sort of real cars. In this case, I'm kind of badly trying to show off an Audi estate, but they're all, most of them anyway, resemble real cars. I found this out as I drove into the back of a Nissan Leaf within like the first couple of minutes. But you'll see, I think there's a Beetle in it. I've driven past a Chrysler PT Cruiser. There's some GMC trucks and stuff. And it's kind of cool to have real cars as opposed to the sort of generic blocks that you find in Test Drive and Burnout. I mean, it's not really a big deal, but it's kind of like cool and not something you normally see, a bit more realistic, which I think is a good start for this game. Now, the cars, they handle like you would expect a Forza car to. This Dodge Viper here that I'm driving drives very much like the one on Forza 4. It sort of has a similar understeery and oversteery characteristics. Although on all the cars, the Viper, the Evo 10 and the Mustang that you get to drive in the demo, the brakes all seem rather powerful. Now, I'm not sure whether that's kind of to do with the sort of roads we're driving on. The corners aren't really as sharp, I guess, as on a racetrack, so you probably don't have to quite brake as much, but I don't know, there's something a bit about the brakes, I think they might have been made a bit more powerful. The races themselves, on the demo at least, are mostly point to point, and I expect in the full game there will be as well. And they all seem to cover a variety of different roads. The AIs as well aren't too bad. They're not sort of F1 2012 level, but they're not the worst I've seen. Now, one of the cool new features on Horizon is the off-road races. Now, these are something that has been asked about an awful lot in previous Forza games, and it's pretty good. I've never driven a rally car. I've never driven really a rally simulator game either, other than sort of the old Colin McRae games, but you know, that's from a while ago. So I don't really know what a car would expect to be handled like around here. The closest I can think is this kind of compares to sort of dirt, and I know dirt's not really a simulator, but the cars are good fun to drive, which is, well, kind of what is more important really. If the cars are boring to drive, then it wouldn't be much good. And one of my favourite things about all of this is, as you can see up ahead, is a Delta S4, which means that car's finally been put into Forza. It's one of my favourite cars of all time, along with the 205 T16, both of which can now finally be driven in sort of where they're meant to be, off-road. And yeah, it is a challenge. The cars do handle differently, but it's probably not quite as realistic as some people would like to have seen. Another of the new features are these showcase events. In this one here, you end up racing a Mustang plane. Now, these sort of, again, they're still point-to-point races, and they still boil down to just go through checkpoints fast and try and beat the AI. But they kind of add in a sort of twist. You're racing sort of a non-car thing. From the loading screens, there seems to be sort of a variety of things you're racing. I can't remember all of them, but I know a hot air balloon was mentioned and that sort of thing. And yeah, it's kind of just sort of a good little distraction. I can guarantee you, so your first couple of times, you can't stop smiling as this plane kind of flies overhead and at you at some points. And yeah, it's just sort of something different that they could do with Horizon. You know, normally Forza you just sort of go around the track again and again against sort of varying difficulties of AI, but here you're kind of doing a bit more fun, a bit more different, and yeah, I think it's a really good sort of idea. Kind of reminds me a bit of Top Gear, and kind of ignoring something crashing there. Another new feature, which has been asked about a lot for Forza games and stuff, is the night racing. Forza Horizon has got a full day-night cycle, which is all very pretty. Kind of reminds me a bit of Test Drive. That thing there that I just went through is a speed camera, or speed trap. Every time you go through it, it takes your speed, and then it's going to compare you against all of the people on your friends list and the rest of the world, so you can get through them fastest. Kind of reminds me a bit of the Burnout Paradise challenges. It's sort of just another way for you to compete against your friends. Continuing with the theme of Burnout, here is a billboard or sign or whatever. They're scattered about the open world as well. When you go through them, I think they sort of knock price of your upgrades, again, which is just a similar system to sort of Forza 4. I then nearly drive into an AI sort of little competition they got going, which is another kind of sort of fun distraction. The AI kind of do their own thing, and you can come across these sort of little races going on. I try to catch them up, but they're gone. The biggest criticism I have of the whole demo, though, is to do with the controls. Now, of course, I know this is just a demo, and this isn't the finished thing, so I really hope this is fixed before they come to the full game. But I am kind of experienced with Forza, quite considerably experienced with Forza, so I'm going through here, you know, I'm sort of turning off all the assists. I've driven with manual and clutch on controller and on steering wheel, so I'm kind of thinking, okay, this kind of handles like the previous game, so I'm just going to jump in at the deep end, turn everything off. Don't quite go all the way with the AI, but... So I'll go onto the controls, And I'm going to try and find the layout. I think I use like layout 11 on Forza 4 or something like that. Either way, I have my clutch on the right button and I've got my gears on the right analog stick, I think. So I'm going through here, I'm trying to find it. None of these layouts seem particularly sensible. I mean, I'd eventually find the clutch on the right bumper, but then the accelerator's on the wrong trigger. Now, I can't really drive with that. I could stand sort of having the gear changes on buttons instead of the stick, but this is going to be a bit hard getting used to. And I don't really think anyone will be using the clutch unless there's sort of ways of fixing it. But you know, things will probably change by the time the game is released. Apart from that sort of minor niggle, this game does look pretty good. I can't see many faults with it, so I really do look forward to it when it comes out. So I suggest you go and find the demo and give something slightly different a try.